All right, we're back finally. It's GAME2015, the W2018 semester at George Brown, and we are week 10, part 2 of our broadcast, creating level tiles in Blender and Unity part 3. All right, so in our last video, painfully, we made we had a new Blender tile set. I put it up on Slack for you guys. I'm just going to download it here. Wait, that was loud. And I also have this FBX file, and I'm going to download that too. That was even louder. All right, good. And now that I've got those two things, I can go and make a brand new Unity project here, GAME2015, W2018 lesson 10. I'm going to create the projects. This is the latest version of Unity as of this recording, 2017.3.
2018 yet?
Not yet. I just downloaded it now. So whatever they have. The question is, we don't have 2018 yet, and no, we won't have it until later this year. So, yeah, 2017.4 is what we're at. F1. There we go. And this setup sucks. I don't like it. I'm going to go into a 2x3, which is what I normally do. And what I typically do is take this project files, put it down here. That's just me. I also create some basic folders. I'm going to make some new folders here. So one of them is going to be the scripts folder. Just going to dial this back a little bit. Another one is going to be the scenes folder. And I'm sure you've seen me do this before, guys, so nothing new there. I'm also going to create a models folder and a prefabs folder, as well as a material folder, which I'm going to need today, and a texture folder. Textures. Materials. How about that? That would be actually a better name than just material. All right, so I've got my folders, and then I also want to include my standard assets. Might as well get them now. So I'm going to go import package. All I care about here, lovely, is my characters. That's the only thing I care about. So I'm just going to grab that. And luckily, it's going to put everything in the correct place, which is going to be inside something called imported assets. I'll wait till this is done. And then we can bring things across from Blender into Unity. We've got the FBX file. I'm going to drag and drop it in, or you can actually put import assets like before. There are some differences that we use that I will bring in as well. Okay, cool. So that's done. That's under standard assets. That's all I need. So I'm going to rename this thing _ imported assets to get it out of the way. So imported assets. I'm going to get that out of the way. And so I can make my own. Yay. Bring the game thing up here, the game tab, which is going to take that out of the way. I don't have anything in my scene whatsoever right now, but I'm going to put in a couple of things in a second. So one thing is, I do have in my downloads folder, I have my tileset version 2, and I also have my intersection FBX, which is right there. So I'm going to go into my models folder, and I'm going to, oh, I hate when it does that. I don't like that kind of switcheroonie at all. I'm going to go into my this folder and drag and drop my intersection in here, which it will not allow me to do. So let's go into assets, import new assets, and then go from my downloads file, which doesn't have anything. And maybe it's because it's under users, me, not available downloads. Okay, that's interesting. That's fantastic. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Let's see if I have access to my downloads under admin and downloads. And I don't have access to those either. That is not a good thing. All right, let's try that again. That was a weird thing. Me download somehow. Let's see how I can figure this out. So it's definitely the pathing is wrong. So assets, importing assets. And somehow it's me /downloads. Yeah, wow. I'm gonna have to put this on my desktop and wonder which desktop that's gonna be. Okay, well, it's not under here, it's under downloads, and it's not under anywhere else I know how to put what documents. Oh, this is very interesting. Let's just move them. Meanwhile, it shows up here for some reason. All right. Wow, that is unique in all of its lovely glory. I wonder if there's something I'm missing from the Unity for it to do that. So let's put it on our desktop. I don't know. Let's grab these two things here and copy them, and we'll go to our desktop.
Slack setup.
Huh?
You're copying the Slack setup, not FBX.
Try that again. Thank you for that. And we'll copy these two things.
Yeah, pay attention.
And I know. You are paying attention. It's good. It's good. It's good. I'm sleeping. How about that? Because that's not working today for me. Marco, it's not happening for me today. I don't know what it is. I think it was like.
You pushed all your left guy.
I know. That's what it was. Look.
Oh boy.
Oh Jesus. I know. It's just nuts. Look, it's just every time I do something, it's just not. How about this? How about just that? You know, that, dude, can that work? Can that work somehow? How about I put that in the proper place, like over here, like where it's supposed to go? See, it doesn't like dragging and dropping.
Yeah, just see a blooper reel, like the end of a Jackie Chan.
I know, isn't it amazing? It's like, hey, normally I can do this stuff, but not today, right? And I must be looking at something like another. I must have a special desktop, a special desktop happening. Users, public downloads? No. Okay. Sorry?
Aren't you on tech?
No, I'm on me. See, I'm the one that's logged in. Right? Yeah, that's really interesting. It's amazing. But meanwhile, I can't find me anywhere, so I don't know where that would be. Because tech, I mean, that's interesting. Let's see if the desktop shows anything. No. And it's a lovely day. Favorites, I mean, it just shows what I favorited, but nothing has been favorited. So it's just don't know the system enough to figure this out. Wow. Okay. Huh. So this is looking somewhere and it's trying to find my stuff. I'm going to go open scene here. Where is it looking? Game 2015. Let's look at my whole path. Edit the address, please. Okay, so it's looking under users tech. Yeah, you're right, users tech, but I can't access users tech. Exactly. I'm not joking, I can't access it. Users tech documents, right?
How did you click on like the tech file?
Yeah, I did that. I went to users, so I went to users tech. Watch. Users tech, and then documents, right? My documents. Users tech downloads. Okay, let's see if I can do that. Let's see if I can go to users tech something and store it there. So grab these two files again, copy, go to C, go to users tech, and yeah, I'm gonna get in there, man.
/tech.
Yeah, I know what it is. And can I get in there? How about that lovely time? As it's trying to see if I have access. I love recording this stuff. This is the best part of recording. Recording the stuff that doesn't work properly. How about desktop? Can I go there? Okay. I don't know if this is the right place, but let's not do it in desktop. Let's do it in users tech. Downloads? Yeah, here, I'll put it here. Paste. Okay, now let's try it. Whoa, I can't believe this. Might work. File. Sorry, asset, import new assets. And under downloads. Oh my God. Can you believe it? I know, it's crazy. Import. Oh. Okay, I don't want it there. I want it inside my models folder. There we go. So here's my models folder. Here we are. my intersection. Now, what I want you guys to do is what I did last time, which was, hey, let's go and try and put in light maps. I want light maps for this one. And I also want to generate colliders. I don't care about cameras, so let's take those out, or lights. So I don't care about those things. No lights, nothing else. And then it says optimize mesh, and which is, I'll leave that on, and I'll press apply. That's this. I'll pull that into the scene. Yay! Here's my actual object. Hooray! It's there, and it looks pretty dark. We're going to add some stuff to it in a second. Next, let's add in a my imported assets. Let's add in a characters under first-person character. Let's go into prefabs, FPS controller, and put that into the scene. Yay! Excellent. Call this the player. Fantastic. Pull the player into the scene, so he's inside the actual object. And let's just, how about we rotate so we see the proper orientation here and make sure that it's inside there instead of it being colored. Great. And we're in there, and let's add a light into the scene as well. We got the player, and we also got the player cam. Player cam. There we go. And we're going to need that player cam in a bit. Just to prepare, because I'm going to add some post-processing like we did last time, I'm going to make a new layer, which we're going to call post-processing. Post-processing. And I'm going to add that post-processing layer to the camera. There we go, post-processing. Absolutely. Awesome. Okay, cool. Now let's add it in a light. So we're going to say here, I'm going to make a new light, which is going to be a point light. Let's bring it into the scene and pick it up over here so we can actually see it. And yeah. There we go. But we don't see any textures. We see the materials, but there's no textures because somehow the textures haven't come through. So let's bring the textures over. So we're going to go into the desktop like we did last time. Actually, we'll make another pass at the downloads folder. There we are. And you know what? We're going to need that texture file, my friends, this one. I'm going to grab this texture because we need it. And we'll download it, and we'll put it, in the downloads folder. Here it is, concrete. And I'll bring it into this one. Fantastic. And then I can import it into Unity. So I'll say assets, import new assets. I will choose concrete and import. I don't want it here. Obviously, I want it to textures, so I'll put that in there. Here's my textures for my concrete. And I have my material, but I also have the material that I got from importing my model. So if I go back to model, here's my intersection. I have two materials. I have tiles and walls. Those are the two materials. And what I want to do here is go back to intersection. And it says normals. Why do I not have that stuff available to me? Actually, maybe I have it here. I do. I want to modify these materials, and I think I could do that with this one right here. So let's see if I can. I know you can do stuff over here. My material, there is my materials. It says use embedded material type. I want to extract my materials. No, how about we don't use embedded materials, we use external materials? Sure. Apply. There's my materials folder. Yay, concrete. And what I want to do with this concrete, I want to move this concrete material into my materials folder. There we go. And what does intersection use? It uses concrete. Fantastic. But there is a texture now. Should be a texture now. Let's just look around. There we go. And you can see that right here there is a lamp, and it's pretty dark in this texture. And does it have a floor too? We do. We have a floor and everything else. And if I look at the game mode, it's pretty dark. That's good. That's what I wanted. Let's make my lamp a little brighter, so we'll kind of make it so that it's greater intensity there. And one thing to help Unity is we can use something called light probes. Let's add some light probes. Okay, I'm going to go into new light probes, light group. There we go. And what light probes look like is a bunch of these little dots. I don't know, have you guys ever used light probes before?
No, sorry,
Light probes. And what I can do with them is I can stretch them out so that they are kind of the size of my corridor, which is really kind of cool. And what they do is they help Unity do shadows and stuff like that. And right now my light does not cast shadows by default, but I want to make it cast shadows, make it hard shadows like that. Cool. And that's pretty cool. So that's my first light. And I want to add another light maybe over here in this corner. So when I duplicate this one, so we'll just make another light. But instead of that, we'll just duplicate this one. So Shift D or Control V, I mean. And we'll just move this light off this way and across this way. A couple lights. And I want to add some more light probes. So I'll add some light probes.
Split them on the probes?
I scaled them. Let me show you.
Oh, scaling separation.
Yeah, so I want to kind of make another one. So let's say I want to add another group of light probes. Right now, notice how they connect with those ones, right? Because what they're doing is communicating with all the lights that are in the scene, right? So that way you can kind of scale them out. So I'm going to scale them. So I'm going to go just choose scaling and scale them out, and then move them over. Move them a little bit more there and scale them out even more. And move them over. What this is doing is it's just helping Unity figure out where the shadows should go. That's too much. That's too much. Let's do that a little bit closer and a little bit higher. Actually, what's happening is you cannot see the light probes. Okay, cool. Now I'll make it a little bit wider here and a little bit taller. And then move that over. All I'm trying to do is fit the light probes inside of the tunnel that I'm making, this little thing here. So it tells Unity how to cast shadows. That's really wrong, actually. So very little bit more. There we go. You see how it triangulates the lights a little bit. Basically it does what it does is helps with light mapping. Okay, good. So we got these two things there. Nice. Wouldn't it be nice if we had post-processing effects? So we did that last time just to prepare. I'm going to get that from Slack. Go, and I want to get all the files. We can go here and go your files or all files. And there is a post-processing stack that I downloaded, so I don't have to download it again. I don't have to download it again. There we go. And then what I can do is expand it here. So of course there's no WinZip or anything like that. So let us send to, how about I uncompress it somehow? Extract here. Sure. Is it going to actually extract here? Oh, good. And what I really want from this one is just the post-processing part, this part. And now I should be able to drag and drop it too. That's probably the reason why I couldn't drag and drop, because it didn't exist. That stuff didn't exist. Let's put that over here, and let's go to assets and grab my post-processing, and it still doesn't like it.
Joke's on you.
What was that?
Joke's on you.
Mm-hmm. Just the way it is, man. Copy. Can I copy paste? I cannot. So we're going to import the hard way. I'm going to go assets, import. It's more like an import package. But let's just go here and import. Import. Nope, that ain't it. Can anyone look up how to grab a folder, like increase the folder into? I mean, I was able to do it just by dragging and dropping on a regular machine. Like literally any regular machine will allow me to.
That's how I do it.
Huh?
That's how I do it.
I'm literally, all I do is import my package, custom package. I'm wondering if I can, yeah, just open my custom package. If it says Unity package. Oh, this is really annoying.
Just manually drag and drop it?
I've tried.
Like not into the editor, but the actual like Explorer file? Like find the project in File Explorer and then just drag and drop those downloads?
Oh, you mean like?
Like, sorry, from downloads into the actual where?
Oh, in my doc. Oh, yeah, that might be something to do. Thank you for that. That's something I didn't think of that. So where the heck is this Unity project? So file, save scene as. Okay, let's do that first. We'll save it inside of scenes, and we'll go and call this main. Wow, that is just peachy. And then save project, and then save scene as, and we'll see where that is. It's inside documents, tech documents. Okay, so let's try that what you said. I'm going to my assets and do that. So, yeah, post-processing is here, but did I move it? I did, didn't I? It's here. So we'll make another file, keep the other one open. Sure. And see users, tech, and documents. This is like almost crazy. Yes, assets. And let's see if I can just pull this puppy in and see what happens. Thank you. Wonderful. Normally didn't have to do that kind of stuff, but hey, right? Dragging and dropping is, you learn something new every day. Thank you for that. All right, so that would put in our post-processing effects. I know, it's crazy.
That was like pulling teeth.
Huh?
That was like pulling teeth.
Only a little bit, like pulling teeth, not much. All right, that's just my, not having my machine because it blew up a level up kind of thing. It's not anyone else's fault, it's my fault. All right, so cool. So I've got this thing cool, I've got my post-processing, and now that I have that, I want to add a new profile. That's what we did last time, post-processing profile. We'll just call this PP2, post-processing 2. I want to add a few effects. One of them is ambient occlusion into my scene. I recommend ambient occlusion for your scene as well. It makes it look like you have fake shadows, or some fake shadows, if you will. Bloom is very common, and let's add some chromatic aberration too. There we go. Those are the three I want. On this, though, I need also a new empty object that I'm going to call the PP2 object, right? There it is. In this object, I'm going to add a new post-processing effect, which is going to be the post-processing volume. And I'm also going to choose that it uses the post-processing layer, just like we've done before. That's number one. Notice it also points to a profile, which we're going to use the profile we just created, which is this one. And it shows me ambient occlusion, bloom, and so on. The next one is we need to go to my player cam. And now this one can work with your VR project as well, right? Here's my player cam. And there's a couple of things that are happening here. One thing is I got a skybox, which I don't want. So let's get rid of the skybox, make it a solid color. We'll make the solid color black, right? So everything that the camera sees is black except for my my scene. And I want to make this part of my post-process, but I want to add another layer to the camera, which is a post-processing layer, this post-process layer. And then now that I have this post-process layer, I should be able to do everything to the camera that I like. If I go back to PP2 here, notice it says is global. I want that checked. Here's my is global checked. And I'm going to start with bloom. So I'm going to go back into the player. Let's move that player around a little bit. I'm not on a Mac. Let's move that player around a little bit. I'm not on a Mac, Tom. So I should say to myself, not on a Mac. And if I click on the camera object itself, I see the wall. Let's rotate by like 90 degrees. Not the camera, the whole player by 90 degrees. Good. And if I look at the camera now, I should see nothing. Because in dark, let's maybe I have to rotate the camera manually for a second so I can see something. There we go. I see the light. Right, there's my light. There's my light there. And you know, let us start with that. So, but that's not good. Undo. 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 I want to not rotate the camera, rotate the player, Control Z. There we go. I'll rotate the player object, not the camera object. So let's try that again. So I think I want to rotate it so it looks like the light source over there. And that's what the camera sees now. That's good enough. So I'm looking at the camera, but I want to kind of see the post-processing effects take place. And what I want to do is I want to go to my PP2 area. And when I go to Ambient Occlusion, I want to turn it on. And you can make it so it's scalable. I want to add my intensity for Ambient Occlusion on. Right? Make sure, again, this is post-processing. The camera has to be on post-processing. Right? Those two things have to be on. And the layer has to be on. And if I look at the game, and if I should look at the camera, maybe we can move the player up a little bit so he looks at the camera at the light source. There we go. And then if I go to the game, we should see the post-processing layers turn on. Okay, so with ambient occlusion, I should see something going on up here, right? So if I'm going to go back to the post-processing layer, this is on. Scalable ambient occlusion is on. I could say I can increase the radius. And what this should do is give me more shadows. I'm not seeing a difference. Let's try to see if bloom works. So intensity of bloom. And we'll decrease the shadow. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. This means that it's not working. Post-processing. Let's see what this one. On chromatic aberration. And what am I not doing right? Post-processing layer. All three have to be part of that. So my main camera, my player, all my players, also the default, eh? And perspective. Culling mask is everything. And I'm going to use my, how about I choose the layer? That's what I have to do. Post-processing layer. Huh? How about them apples? All right, let's try that again. So I'm going to go back to this, and let's go to change this now. Do I see a difference? How about over here with the game? I love when things don't go as planned. It's just amazing. In the earlier class, this was a breeze, no problem. It was done like in 2 seconds. But in this class, somehow, not. Okay, I don't use softening. What chromatic aberration? Turn that on too. So no spectral LUT, but I do have an intensity. Because I'm not seeing it here, this is bad. Let's see if I run this thing, if I see any difference. All right, so I can look at the scene. I don't see anything. In fact, it seems very dark to me, which is fine. So light probes are doing their job. Let's see if I can go over here. And why am I tilting?
You rotated the camera.
I did rotate the camera, which is not what I wanted. I wanted to rotate the player. Player cam should be reset. But that still doesn't seem to be. Maybe the player is rotated by how about I unrotate the player to 0 and rotate this one to 0. And how about I play again and see if that makes a difference? Somehow I don't think I will, but anyway. Okay, 3D sound is on nicely. There we go. All right, so I can look at that right there. I can escape. Maybe what I can do is I can add a, just pause that for a second. Wow. I'm not seeing it anyway. I'm not seeing the effects take hold whatsoever, which is just a bad thing, right? So, the camera's processed, post-process. I got my, oh yeah. Yeah, no, this is the light layer, and this is the thing that I want. Layer is post-processing. How about that? Oh, now I see it. You can see it now. Yeah, so I play the game, and you can see now that there is ambient occlusion and some there we go. See that ambient occlusion in the corner there? That's what it looks like. And you can see a little bit of chromatic aberration as well. And a little bit of bloom. Yeah, you can see it here too. So if I was to go back to the post-processing layer, I'll be okay. If I change the intensity, you can see that it changes now. So I can make that. I also can change the radius. So how much ambient occlusion, like how it spreads out. I think I like it a little bit more spread out. A little bit there on the corners. For bloom, typically what I like to do is turn up the intensity of the bloom a little bit so it's really bright. And the threshold, if I make it so that it is, you know, kind of bloomy like that, there we go. That's too much. Okay, that's fine. So you see this kind of effect in the camera. Chromatic aberration, what it does is, like we saw before, it increases the effect of stretching of the light, right? So if from 0 to 1, if I just put a little bit of it, it kind of gives me the effect of like looking through a lens as opposed to looking through eyes. All right, so that might be better. Let's take a look at that. Now, if I go through here, I can see that there's a bit of chromatic aberration on the corners and some bloom. There we go. All right, so that's cool. So that's what I was talking about with post-processing. You can see it's a softer light, and I can see that the areas that are lit, the ones that are dark are completely dark. Things to change in my editor, in my scene. If I go to window lighting, if I go to settings for my lighting, you can see that I use a default skybox, and I don't want that. I want to just get rid of it. Boom, boom. And what that does, because the skybox actually adds in its own ambient light. If I don't have a skybox, then you get something that looks like this, right? Which is, I think, what I wanted more. And now, why the heck is my camera way down here? Because probably I reset it. That's probably why. Because my camera is walking, and it's way down here. Look. And that's not what it should be. My player is here. And is it me, or is like he's really small compared to the size of my place? My place looks massive, and he looks really small. His gravity multiplier is 2, and I know that you can look at the player size. Walk speed is 5. Skin width, that's and these are all things. Yeah, he's 1.8 meters. I wonder how big these things are that they came in. And I wonder why they came in so large. That didn't happen this morning. So let's take a look. I look at the actual model that I'm using, intersection, right? Then yeah, look at the scale. It's like out of whack. It's like really wacky. That's a wacky scale. I'm gonna have to fix it when it comes back to the other part because this should not be this size. This should be like way smaller than this. But hey, it's a massive corridor for aliens. All right, that's what it is in this particular case. All right, cool. So let's back out. I've got my corridor, and I want to do. I've added post-processing. You can see the effect of the bloom. It's really weird. If I want to add my own skybox, you can create that. So if I go back to, if I go create. Now, there's different ways of doing this. Skybox, I can install a skybox, or I can add a material if I really want to do it that way as well. It's not what I did this morning. Trying to make it easy without downloading an asset. Yeah, let's leave it alone. But you can see what it does. It kind of creates this like bloom, and chromatic aberration creates this like really soft effect, right? Now, if you don't want that, that's okay. But for your games, for your VR, if you want to make it really truly crazy scary, more post-processing in particles and stuff like that would be really cool. All right, so, okay, cool. Let's add something else in Blender. Now, we do have Blender because I just downloaded it.
What the post-processing like chug a lot on the phone now?
Not much, actually. Believe it or not, post-processing happens at the last. So when you have your buffers, right? So let's talk about if your question was, doesn't it chug? And the answer is it won't chug because it's done at the end, the last step in the pipeline, right? So you've got your vertices. It goes into a vertex buffer. The vertex buffer goes into a vertex shader. The vertex shader goes into a geometry shader. From there, it goes into the rasterizer, out the other side to the fragment shader, and then to some kind of FBO, frame buffer, right? Now, modern stuff like Unity and Unreal use some kind of frame buffer object or something like that, and typically uses deferred rendering, typically. Now, you can turn it on. If you actually look at the player camera, by default, it has... I think it has an area where it tells you the kind of processing it does. And use graphics. Here it is, rendering path. Use graphic settings. You can do deferred rendering if you want to. And I think it says deferred rendering and multi-sample anti-alias is not supported. This camera will render without MSAA buffers. So let's go like this. There we go. It won't allow MSAA, but what this does for deferred rendering, you can actually target a specific texture if you want to. See if this actually works just like this, or if it'll show me nothing. Yeah, deferred rendering. So what this does is it defers the rendering until after everything, right? Instead of doing forward rendering, a forward rendering pass, which means that it's actually rendering things at the same time. It takes all the information for the geometry and puts it in and kind of shows everything right at once. Deferred rendering, what it does is it draws to a back buffer, an FBO, a frame buffer object, right? And then we use the frame buffer object to draw typically to a full screen quad, which is what you're seeing here, right? Full screen quad. So post-processing happens at the last step. So what you do is you take your full screen quad and add blur to it for bloom. You add and then you brighten you do a bright pass, right? So it looks like all the bright areas in your scene. It brightens those areas and it creates the blur only on the bright areas. And then the rest of the areas leaves alone. That's how blur works, or bloom. And that happens at the last moment before you go into your full screen quad. It happens every frame. So every time you move your camera and stuff like that, or your character, and you're re-looking at the scene itself, it just redraws that image. And it's redrawing every frame anyway. So all it's going through is the pipeline, and there's one section of the pipeline, this post-processing step, that happens at the very end. Same thing happens with things like color grading, where you actually add a color to the scene. You can brighten the scene. If you know anything about photography at all, you can add color grading to make a sepia tone, as an example, or black and white, or you can make more color, make it so it's like more blue or more red, so make it warmer or dark, or cooler. You can do that with color grading. And that happens at the last step again. So post-processing doesn't really affect your performance so much as long as you're using something like deferred rendering. Okay, but even if you had it as auto, so instead of using, I'm specifically talking about deferred rendering, it's going to figure out the best way itself by using graphic settings. That means graphic settings on the actual card itself, and then I can use MSAA. Okay, cool. And notice that these, look at the command buffers it uses. So these are buffers before lighting, deferred ambient occlusion, before image effects, opaque, post-processing, and so on. It tells you the whole processing stack, right? Okay, and I guess I've turned that on because I went to deferred rendering like this. There we go. Let's leave it at deferred now. Now that I've done deferred rendering, it's done. Right? I'm not gonna remove those. All right, so yeah, and it says things like deferred fog. I can enable deferred fog, or I can disable it, and then I can exclude the skybox and all that stuff. This all happens on the camera itself. Every camera, you can set up different kinds of effects, and you can also, one camera will see only one type of object and have no effects on it. So if I wanted something, one of my cameras, like my gun camera, as an example, to have no bloom on it whatsoever, I can do that. I can specify only certain objects to have or only certain cameras see certain things. All right, so that's what this does. Let's bring in one more texture from, like I said, from the from Blender. And again, we're running a little late today, guys. I do apologize, but things always don't run as smoothly as I'd like. So I'm going to just double click on this and bring up Blender. And we left it off with this. And what I want to do is I want to go to, I want to tab into object mode. And if you see on the right here, I have multiple layers for this tile set. And I have different layers that you can do. So I've given you kind of a T-junction. And I've given you kind of a straight. So here's your straight layer, right? And I want to take this straight. Let's go back to normal, solid. And I want to redo this one. And I want to use this one as well. And create a bunch of straight kind of areas inside my level, right? So what I want to do is the same thing. I want to right click on this. I want to tab into edit mode. I want to go look at it from the front into ortho mode, deselect all, go into wireframe mode. And I'm going to use the B select to select my object. And I want to make sure that actually I'm in face select mode to do that. Then I can select faces. There we go. So my face selects, my faces. See, these are all face. I can hide them like I did before. Go from the top, right? And then I can select just my floor. Here's my floor. And what I want to do is I want to unwrap my floor, right? So I can apply the concrete texture on it, right? Right now, I only have my tile texture, or my tile material. And what I want to do is add another material slot and assign the walls. Well, this is my walls and my floor. I can actually use my tile because my tile is my. Let's go and take that away. Actually, let's assign this to walls. Hold on. I'm gonna have walls too. Wonderful. Here's my tile, and what I want to do here with this one is I want to unwrap it. And because I'm unwrapping it from here, I should be able to do a straight unwrap, but I want to do it from my projection. So I want to project from projection. If I go back to UV editing mode, you can see that this is what it looks like right now, right? I've unwrapped the floor of my tile, right? Let's go into perspective so you can see it a little better. There it is. And of course, this is too small. I want to make this much bigger. I want to make this much bigger. And I want to make this the size of my tile. I want to move it up so it can kind of hug this part here. One more thing that I noticed also is that my tile itself has a bunch of these vertices that are unused, these ones. And I want to get rid of them because that's going to really cause a problem. So I'm going to kind of select all those vertices here. And I'm going to press X to melt my vertices, which is dissolve vertices back into the fold here. That will cause a problem when it comes to actually how your machine will render them. Now, it doesn't affect how this looks. This is actually unwrapped nicely. But I might as well, just to be safe, because it's a UV map. I want to map from my view and just do that one more time. So just kind of bring that up. So I'm scaling it up just like I normally do. And I'm just going to kind of bring that into play there. That's pretty good. OK, cool. So I've unwrapped everything for these ones. But I also have the other ones to unwrap. I'm going to go Alt-H to show my walls again. I'm going to go from the front view. Again, I'm in wireframe mode, right? So I can get to see them, so I can see that. Deselect all. And now what I want to do is I want to just select this part. So I'm going to go into face select mode. And then I'm going to select my faces with my B selector. So that this is the box select mode. There's my faces. Two things I want to do here. I want to go back into defaults and take my walls and click assign. So that's going to assign the wall texture that I had before to my walls that I made there. That's these things here. So that's one thing. And the wall texture already comes, or the wall material comes with the texture, which is this one. If I go back to UV editing mode now, I want to unwrap this stuff, but I want to do it using a different kind of unwrapping. If I just do the same thing I did last time, it'll unwrap funny like this. That's not good. Instead, I want to use a Smart UV Project and do one of those. That's much better. And of course, I want to use the texture that I'm going to use right here, I'm going to leave that as is. So I've unwrapped everything. We're good to go. Let's go back into default mode and go back into solid mode. There it is. And let's see what that texture will look like. Texture, now it looks kind of black because I don't have any kind of light in there in the scene, which I'm going to add. So I'm going to add a new lamp. Let's actually move the cursor in there first. So Shift A. I want to get a lamp going, a point lamp, which should give me a sense of what the texture looks like. There we go. Okay, so that's kind of what the texture will look like. That's good. I want to now select this thing and file, export FBX, just like we did last time, into this area here. We're not going to call it intersection. This is actually a straight, so I'm going to call it straight. And export FBX. Great. And now we don't need Blender anymore. So I'm going to save Blender and stop it because we're going to be done for the day after this. Okay, cool. So I've got my straight FBX. And is it inside my model? No, it's not. I got to bring it in. So we're going to import it. Assets, import new assets. And I got to go to where I have it, which is under downloads. I do. There we are. Import. There's my straight. Now I got to do the same thing I did last time. I got to go to my model. I want to add. I want to generate colliders. I want to generate light maps, which is very important. I don't care about cameras or lights, so I want to get rid of those things. And it's a 1-to-1 scale factor. I'm going to click apply. Excellent. Now I'm going to pull my straight into my scene, and there it is. It's kind of overlapping the other one. That's okay. Let's just move it around a little bit. I'm going to. Did I get my straight? Which one did I get? I got all of them. All of them. Of course I did, because that's the kind of day I'm having today. Don't want this. Yeah. Oh, why did I close Blender? Let's open up the recent file. So file, open recents. Let's go back to this. I meant to do file, export, FBX, and click selected objects. That's what I want. Oh, yes. Excellent. Fantastic. Now I can close it. Okay. First I'll save, then I'll close. Hey, let's try that again. Let's get rid of this straight. And didn't put it in there. Let's do it again. So assets, import assets, import straight, import. Bring it into the models. Fantastic. Great. Then bring that into here. That's much better.
Yay!
Isn't that amazing? Now I have this asset, but I want to snap it too because this isn't right. So just like I did last time, what I want to do is I want to snap. I want to use vertex snapping to do that. So I'm going to click on V for vertex and snap it too, right? So that should be able to help me build my level outs, right? I've got these two straight and intersection, and they look pretty good. I like them. So I want to make them into prefabs and the player too. Since I've already done this, I'm going to take the straight and intersection, drag and drop it into prefabs, player, drag and drop that into prefabs, and the same thing goes with straight. Now that it's a prefab, I can duplicate it a bunch of times and have no fear. I want to Control D and duplicate that, move it out. Use V for vertex snapping and snap it in. Do it again. Control D, move it out. Vertex snapping, move it in. Control D, move it out. All right, let's move the scene a little bit. Vertex snapping, move it in. And they're not going to be perfect. You can see that here's my first straight. It's at 4.76, and the position on the x-axis and so on. And there's another one and another one. You can see that the values are slightly different than everything else. But the z-axis, so it's on the z, the position on the z is 15. This is 20. This is correct, so the position where it's going. But I'm afraid that some of the other positions are messed up. So how do I know this? Because this is 0, 0, and this is minus whatever it is on the z-axis. But meanwhile, this is 5, right? And that, I know that would cause a problem. So let's go if I put this at 0, right, on the x-axis, now you can see that this could be at 5, and this could be at 10, and this could be at 15. These are good things, right? These are good things. And because this is 0, 0, 0, then these ones should probably be 0 too. And you're not going to notice the difference because until you actually step in there, and then you're going to go, whoa, that's messed up. Right, so these all have to be zeroed out. Or else you're going to get some really weird, buggy looking tiles. Almost done, guys. I'm sorry I'm running a little over time. Just give me one more second. All right, so I've got this little straight corridor, and let's see how it looks like in the game. So I'm going to play it. And boom, boom. Okay, so remember, we're in a hallway of giants because we didn't resize. And oh, we fell. Why? Because we didn't do any of this stuff. We didn't make stuff. We did not do this properly at all. So even though I made the straight collider, I didn't make a, of course I didn't today. Rushing. Models, straight. I meant to generate colliders, what I wanted to do, and generate light maps. We did that, but we did it for the wrong one. And we don't care about cameras or lights. And click apply. Yay, okay, cool. Unfortunately, it didn't do that for these ones. These ones did not generate the straight parts. Let's just, yeah, delete. But we know what needs to be done now, right? Straight. And let's go back to my prefabs and kill that straight because that is the wrong one. And of course, I grabbed intersection instead of straight. Yeah, it's good too. Awesome. One more time. Models. Straight. And yeah, vertex snapping. Excellent. Make sure this is zeros. Now that I've got them at zeros, Control D. Control D. There we go. And I'm moving this out to 10. I can actually make this 10. I know, I'm just laughing at myself today. Control D. Control D. Control D. There we go. I do 10 times. This is 15. How about that? We'll do it this way. Control D on this lovely computer. Do it, man. Control D. Duplicate. How about that? I'll just do it randomly. I know. And this will be 20. And duplicate. And that'll be 25. There we go. How about that? That's done. All right. Now we have mesh colliders. And oh, God. It was supposed to be easy, but it isn't. Nothing good is ever easy. How about those attributes there? All right, so there we go. I can jump, and we see that there's a hallway. And you can see also, what was that?
Stay away from the light.
Stay away from the light. Light's way down here. You can see that it's gloomy, and it's way down here. Now, one thing that I didn't do is adjust the light probes. And you can see that if I look at the light groups that I have a point light and some light groups over here. And I could expand them. I could expand the light probes, these ones here, by selecting them. So if I want to select those light probes in a light group, if I go to there and I want to select these ones, I can select this one. If I shift select, I can probably select all those. Let's see if I can do that. I don't know. Maybe I can. What do you think? Okay, I can't select that one, but let's just move that one too. Why? I'm trying to select all of them for you guys so that it's not so bad. And I can't seem to get this one. Shift, click. There we go. And if I do that and I move them out like this, then I can add better lighting. What this does is help me calculate the lighting, do the lighting calculations, and especially for the chromatic aberration, all that stuff, for the entire scene. That's what it does, right? So that way, this light is going to cast proper shadows everywhere.
Is it fine to have your light probes go bounds like that of the map, or would it be preferred to have more probe groups so you keep them inside of the bounds of the map?
Well, you want to keep them inside the map, right?
Yeah, sure. I wasn't sure if it made a difference.
Yeah. Well, you want to make them inside where they're going to be, right? So then when I run,
well, isn't it the mesh with the probes just like overlaying both sides of the map?
Yes.
So I wasn't sure if that was
So see, actually, what you see is actually some better shadowing over here in this part, right? Before it was like the shadows cut off really
Yeah,
quick,
exactly. They're pretty
and now they weren't. Now they're a little bit better than before. You can that's like a weird light. I'd like to have a light source like a candle or something else sparkling, but for now, I mean, I just wanted to show you how that works, right? So pretty good. And like I said, I think making tiles, creating your level with by using tiles is really cool. It's easy to do. It takes some time though. So if you have your level artist and you have a guy who's doing things in Blender, he can bring things in from Blender into Unity. Pretty good. Better than me today. That was a bit of a kerfuffle there, but hey, it is what it is. Next week, please have your games ready to go. I'm going to be doing some testing, like I said. So I want to do cross testing with your other teams. So you're going to give your game to somebody else. They're going to use your rig, maybe a phone or whatever that's you've loaded on. So Michael, as an example, might have your game loaded onto his phone, and then he's going to give it to Corey and Colin. They're going to look at it. And then same thing goes with Corey and Colin. They're going to give their game over to you guys. And then you guys are going to do some feedback. There's going to be a form to fill out. Speaking of forms, one more form is out there. There's two things you have to do today. One thing is there's the peer review that's also due tonight, right? Because I want to know that everyone's doing well. Some people are not doing well. I can tell you right now. Some people don't even hand that thing in. That's an easy 1% gone, right, for not handing it in.
Something that
Each of you have to do, yeah. And some people are not doing well because they're just being marked badly by their peers. Like, I'm talking bad. Like, they're not participating. They're MIA, they never show up, and they're part of the group, right? Eventually, what's going to happen if I get enough of those peer review forms that are 0, 0, 0, they're just going to get 0 for the course, right? So, which is kind of weird. Any questions in this crazy model that I made before we go for the day? Fantastic, guys. I will see you next week, and we'll have a better week because I'll have my laptop back. I know, it's crazy. Thanks so much.
Did you fry the power supply or the graphics?